Hello Stampers, my name is Linda Bedinger and I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in Denver, Colorado, and you'll get a kick out of this. This is my buddy Puccini, who found a box to crawl in. So he's been hanging out in my craft room sitting in the box, and he's chewed it all up, and he just seems to love this little box because he just fits. So I didn't have the heart to take him out because he was having such a good time in there. Anyway, there we go. He can have his box and crawl in it and be happy. I have a very fun card for you today. I've been working with the Round the Bend stamp set and die set. And I have a card that was sent to me by one of my team members that I'm using as inspiration, and then I've done some other things with it, my take, so to speak. And so let's just get started. I think you're going to like it. Here was my inspiration card. Now this card I think is just really very cute, and it was sent to me by MJ Owens. Melissa Owens, who is in Las Lunas, New Mexico, and she's been a demonstrator with me for 4 or 5 years now, and this is just the prettiest card. She's been a card maker for many, many, many years, longer than she's been with me as a demonstrator, and her technique and the cards that she makes are generally just stunning. And I just loved this card. And in the inside it says, "I love that we are friends," and it's done with grays and blacks. And that was the inspiration card. Now I'm going to show you the card that I ended up making. And I made this one. So I was using the Fancy Flora paper and then the Round the Bend dies and stamp sets. And I also used the Heart Punch, but used it a little differently than she did. I wanted more of this paper to show on here than I would have had to make it up quite a bit further in order to be able to get that punch to punch out underneath here. And the card I'm going to make today is pretty much the same. I'm changing the stamp here, and so I'm going to put just a note on the front, and on the inside all I did was add a heart here. I'm going to stamp "Thinking of You." And so that is the card that we are going to make today. And what you need is a card base of Petal Pink. If you use this in the Fancy Flora, there's so many pretty papers, you could just do about anything. But for this one, I used a Petal Pink 8.5 by 5.5 scored and folded at 4 1/4. You need 2 pieces of Calypso Coral, 4 by 5 1/4, one for layering on the outside and one for layering on the inside. Then you need 2 pieces of Very Vanilla. I thought the Very Vanilla was better. I tried it doing it with the white, and it was just too stark. You can see how white it is, and it just didn't quite look right with the soft colors here. So I went back to the Very Vanilla. First of all, this card is the "I'm Just So Happy for You," and what I did was I just cut mine in half and just used the "So Happy for You" on this one. And I used this stamp here to get this image, and I did do that on my Stamparatus. What I found is when I tried to stamp it without using my Stamparatus, I was not getting good enough ink coverage. And so in order to be able to stamp it a couple of times to have it come out as crisp as possible, I used my Stamparatus, and that worked beautifully. Then on this card, I'm using Go To Greetings, which was a $1 Million Demonstrators set, and I just love this set. It's got 3 happy birthdays, tiny, medium, and large, and scripty, "Thinking of You," the same thing, in a couple of different sizes. Thank you in a couple of different sizes, and just a note in a couple of different sizes. And I just love this stamp set. I use it over and over and over again. And I will put below on the video what demonstrator designed that, because I think she did a fabulous job. And I decided to use my ink on this is soft suede, and that is because there's browns in this designer series paper. Okay, so we have those pieces, and then in addition, I have a piece of the designer series paper cut down to 3 3/4 by 5, and that is going to go on the front of my card, and then one of these will be cut out. All right, the dies I used were the round the bend dies, and there are the dies. And the one that I used for this one, I left this on here so that you could see exactly how it works. So what I did was I put my Very Vanilla piece in my Stamparatus, and I stamped the little squiggle here a couple of times until I was really happy with how dark and complete it was. Then I put the die on here and taped it down with a little washi tape just to make sure that I got the ends the way I wanted them. And they were over, the little scallops were over the dots. And so that is all there is to that. Now this piece would just come off of here and off of here, and that is the piece that is going to go right on here. It looks like I got a little bit of a smear. I'll have to work on that. But that is what's going to go on this piece and then go on the card. So that is what I used, round the bend dies, and then round the bend stamp set, and then for my sentiments I used Go To Greetings. On the embellishments on this, I did use these brushed metallic adhesive dots, and I did these in kind of a, I don't know what that is, kind of a brushed something or other. Anyway, on this one I thought I'd use the gold and see how it worked. We'll see. Okay, so it's just a matter of putting this all together now. So the first thing we can do is add our Calypso coral piece to our card front. And I'm going to take my seal and put some seal on this Calypso coral piece, and I'm going to add that to the front of my card, centered with a similar border all the way around. There we go. Then the next thing I can do is put down my piece. Isn't that just the most beautiful paper? I just love this fancy Flora paper. So this one can now go down on the front of my Calypso coral mat, and get that also with a similar border all the way around. Now then, this piece that I've already stamped and cut is going to fit right over that designer series paper and go right to the bottom of that paper. So I'm going to add some seal to this, and I'm going to go ahead and put some seal along that scalloped edge. And then I'm going to just match this to the bottom of the designer series paper and get that on here so that it's perfectly covered. Now I am going to go off camera and see if I can do something about this this smear. Okay, I think I got most of it. It's amazing what you can do with a little sand eraser, and on second thought I thought I should have just left this on so that you could see. What I did was I covered the little dot and then used my sand eraser around that spot. And with a post-it note here, I was able to get even the stuff in between that had smeared on the inside. So one of these days I'll do a video about correcting errors, and that one would be a good one because we all make them, and it would be nice if we could all understand how to take care of that without starting over. All right, so there we go. We have that. Then I have my 2 little hearts already punched out, or my 3 hearts that I need for this. And there they are. I was thinking about putting some mint macaron leaves around them, but I decided in the end I liked it a little bit cleaner. So this one is now ready to be mounted on, well, let's see. We have to do some stamping. So I can go ahead and just do my stamping here. Now you might want to do yours before you put your piece on, so in case you don't get a perfect stamp, you can start over. But I'm going to put my just a note right down here on this piece in my soft suede. Oh, I'm so sad that soft suede is going away. And I got a little edge, so I'll be scrubbing some more here in a minute. Okay, there's my just a note without the edge now. And then what I have are my 2 hearts, 1 big one and 1 small one, to add right on here. And I did put those up on dimensional. So this heart I'm going to put going this way, and this little one I'm just going to add a little bit of dot runner to the back of it and place this one on this side. So there we go. So that's all ready to go. Now for the inside I decided to add another greeting. This one is going to say thinking of you, and I'm going to watch my edges on this one so I don't get any ink where I don't want it. I'm tired of scrubbing. So I'm going to just clean off that edge, and I'm going to put my thinking of you right in the center of the inside of this little card. And there I've got my thinking of you, and given how that smudged before, I'm going to give it a second to dry. And in the meanwhile, I can go ahead and put my Calypso coral piece on the inside of the card. And add that with a similar border all the way around. Now this one should be nice and dry, so I can go ahead and add it also to the inside of the card. And there we go. And then we have this last little heart that I'm going to just add to the inside of the card right down here. Now the last thing I wanted to do was use some embellishments, and I decided to try these gold ones this time around rather than the burnished metal here, or burnished nickel, or whatever it was. Let me see here if I can get, I put one here, and then on this one I kind of went around the heart a little bit. So in order to do that, on this one I could either just put one on here and maybe one different one, but I kind of like the look of that kind of just going around the heart. So I'm going to add a couple more here, just like this. There we go. And I know that's not an odd number, but I think I'm happy with that. And then on the inside, because these are kind of flat, they're not really very, well, they're a little raised, but not much. I'm going to put one on the inside of that heart. And there we go. That is my project for the day. Thank you so much for stopping by my YouTube channel today. I do so appreciate it. And if you don't already have a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, well, I'd love to be your demonstrator, or you could join my team. Always interested in adding people to my team, and it's always a good time to join. If you join now, your first full quarter won't be until June through September, through the end of August, I guess it is. So you have until the end of August to make your first minimum. And it's $125 worth of product for $99, and you start out with a 20% discount. So there's some really good benefits to joining. If you're ever curious about it, give me a call. Be happy to talk with you about it. And so again, that's it for me. I will be back soon with more cards, more projects, and more tips. Bye!